Two more, please, there, Jamie.
2 pints and a big old shift. We love that.
A beautiful fucking pint. Oh, I like it when it gets all in the beard.
Right, sure, we call it night.
We will indeed. Cheers, mate.
Cheers to that shit.
They do. Beautiful fucking pint.
You alright getting up?
Yeah, I left like at 11. So like, because of the rain and shit.
Oh, the rain. The minute the rain comes,
dude.
everything shuts down, man.
And then you know what's the pain in the ass is the Dartford crossing.
Okay.
Whenever I get to that, because when
you're just sitting in it.
I sit in it. When I shoot silo, I drive. I like to drive.
Yeah.
I don't like getting picked up.
Right, yeah,
It's the thing I got.
I like it.
I'm a fucking blue collar actor, man. Like I like
That's
getting
it,
in
man.
my car, listening to my music,
Yeah.
smoking my cigars.
Give yourself a few more big jobs.
Yeah. No, fuck that shit. No, not even any job that I got. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like to me, it's like there's such a process to.
Yeah, because you drove to see me that time when we were taking photographs. I remember you driving up.
Yeah, I always do. There's a process to it.
Yeah.
To me, it's like my zen. I get to listen to the music I want. I get to smoke my cigars. I gotta work. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a process to it.
Yeah.
And I think like if I'm going over my lines, I like to do it loud. I like to do it however I like to do it.
Okay, that's cool. Actually, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
for
get
me
that.
driving, even when I was now shooting in Tenerife now, like
Get a car there.
I asked them, I'm like, hey, instead of getting picked up every day, can you just rent me a car? I don't care what fucking car it is, any car.
Yeah.
Just give me a car.
What car did you get?
So, I don't know.
Fuck off.
No, it was like.
What
no,
car did you
seriously.
get?
No, it was a shitty car. It was.
Okay, like a
100%.
Jeep Wrangler or some shit?
No, they don't have them out there. It was like I couldn't even tell you the brand it was. It wasn't great, but like any car that is perfect, it gets you to point. From point A to
Absolutely.
point
Well,
B.
I booked we were in Malaga and I booked a Fiat 500. And I wanted a Fiat 500 and I got some shit other little thing. Now it was perfect, but when we were leaving Malaga, it's all kind of up.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You feel
I'm
that
fucking,
shit.
I'm doing, you know that thing? You're gonna,
like
you're trying to push.
your foot out the car.
It's like Flintstones, man.
But that's enough to give you that bit of zen.
Yeah.
For whatever moment you need it for, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can control this
Yeah,
part
man.
of my
And on
day.
that note, fucking
Salute,
slange it.
yeah.
That's a nice one, man. I like
Cheers,
that.
man. Oh, I like it when it gets all in the beard.
Yeah, you gotta leave it there, let it go black.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, you don't.
No, I like
Lick
it.
that
Is
up,
an
sup
Irish
it
thing?
up.
Just let it go, just let it go black?
No, get it in there.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Don't let that go stale. It's like having egg on your face.
It's nice. It's gonna.
Yeah,
after a
you
while,
could.
it's gonna whisk
You
up
could.
and
You
stuff.
could. You use it.
But I think with the actor strike, it's kind of let the world know a lot about, I think, our industry in essence. I think so many of my friends and so many people have this idea. It's like, oh, you're an actor, man. You're a fucking actor. You're loaded, or you've got
Sure.
shit figured out. And it's like,
yeah.
no, I fucking don't.
Fuck that,
and I'm
man.
like, I gotta work hard on this job, that job. You know, I had to take this job for pennies to the dollar because I need to work. The job was, there's no title to it yet, and it's funny. It's a Guy Ritchie film.
For some reason, it makes sense that there's no title.
There's no title.
When you mention Guy Ritchie.
Well, the thing is, I think
Let's just shoot it and I'll write it after.
1,000%. No, that's exactly how
I
it
get
is.
it. All right.
Which is brilliant, and I love it. But I think he actually, because the film I did with a film with him last year, The Covenant, was starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's wicked, man.
It's a
Don't
great
you know. But
Yeah,
it's fucking
thank
good.
you. No,
Not
it's
to
a
do when
great
you're
film.
blowing your throat.
No, it was a great film. It was a great film.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
And it was very different from what we were used to seeing Guy Ritchie do.
I fucking love Guy Ritchie shit.
Yeah.
I love how he approaches stuff.
Yeah.
I love how stuff is kind of just done
Yeah.
in the way that it's kind of real,
Yeah.
or in the way that it's done that he just goes now straight away. That's what you're doing. Quickly
Yeah.
do it, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that's the fucking shot.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? So
That's
is
exactly
that?
how it
Am I saying?
Have you been on a Guy Ritchie film? 'Cause
No,
That's exactly
but
how
I
it is.
love dissecting shit that I can really understand.
Yeah.
That
No, there's a
looking-
rawness to it.
I'm looking at this frame.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this scene,
Yeah.
and I can nearly see in my head like, he's just said nothing to these fuckers,
Yeah.
and they've literally gone in there with no script.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it. And I can see that in a lot of stuff. You can see, I know what I'm talking about. You're on, let me hear what you're saying about it. But from what I think about visually seeing it, because I dissect shit visually, and I'm a super movie buff, you are as well, I'm a fucking nerd. But what I see in it is that he would rather it be a documentary, nearly, but scripted.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, have like a real,
He
there's a
wants
real
that
story.
narrative that he'd never find without going down years without looking for it, but he's going to write it.
Well, it's sort of that. It's sort of the rawness of. It's so many times. I mean, I think he's the script is not Bible, nor should it ever be.
No.
Because I think that there are some brilliant writers out there, and Instagram. I forgot what Instagram account does this, where they'll like have the scene playing in the bottom, and they'll have the script on top, and it's like the script
I've
is rolling.
seen stuff like that. I've seen stuff like that.
You see it, and you can see that it's never word for word
Yeah.
because you can't truly get the spirit of what that character is trying to say written on page.
Have you been
It's-
on set with people that are regimented directors?
Oh, yeah, for
and
sure.
They're like, read the
Yeah.
script.
Yeah.
Don't
for
go off
sure.
piste.
The thing is, you have to learn how to do both. Like I can go on, for example, like when I'm on Silo, which is the Apple TV show I'm on.
Yeah.
Writers are brilliant, and usually we stick to the script on that. And a lot of times, like that's how it's written. There's a story to be told. Everything has its sort of method of how we're going to get to the end of the season, right? And you trust that. And there are moments when you're working with certain directors that are completely brilliant and free, and an actor's director, right? Where it's like, hey, I don't quite think that's how I'd say that. They're like, all right, we'll try it how you'd say it.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. But
You feel that there's more of a creative process then?
100%.
Okay.
There needs to be.
Well, totally.
There needs to be.
Because
Because
when we
like,
met each other as well, there was that,
Yeah.
do what you want, man, I'll follow you. And then
yeah.
once you do something, I'm like, okay, stay there, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
So there's always that. Now I look at the way I take photographs
Yeah.
is probably the way a director looks as well, because I like to think of it as if I'm taking photographs of you
Yeah.
in a movie.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
and you did that. Yeah, you absolutely did. You're like, all right, I like that, that cowboy style.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Even to like, what music are we listening to here?
that nailed it.
Yeah, because
I still listen to Colton Morton, man.
Yeah, Colton
Fucking
Wall, man.
shit, man.
Sleeping on a blacktop. Script isn't like it isn't Bible. It's like he comes in and sort of looks at what the scene is supposed to be, what we're trying to say, what the character's kind of motivation is, and like, all right, runs with it. Like, what are we gonna say here? Boom, bam. And to the point where, like, if you got something funny, he'll take your idea.
Right, okay.
He'll take your idea. I'm like, what if, and a lot of times it's like, nah, that doesn't work. Or sometimes, I can't say it. It's in this movie I just did, but I did throw something out, and I kind of just turned my head like, whatever. I thought that was funny. All right. And then within like 3 seconds, he's like, I like that. All right, cool. Now, Henry, you're saying this, and that. I'm like, boom, because it's like this kind of organic, like, collaborative experience. At the end of the day, he has the final say. Because I did have this great monologue in this film that I just did now, and came in, he heard it in the rehearsals, and he's like, yeah, that's cool, but I think, when we get in the close-up, we're gonna change this and that. And as he's hearing it, he's kind of like realizing, okay, we need to establish this for whatever part of the movie.
Yeah.
Or, what have
So
you.
as erratic as his brain is, he's
Oh,
absorbed into
he's
this
absorbed.
idea.
He knows exactly what he
Amazing.
wants to say.
Yeah.
So he'll, come up and say, just kind of whisper in my ear, boom, and make sure to say this here, boom, 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 and we did it in a take. Great, awesome, great, moving on. So it's like, it's not this like being hung up on what's on the script or whatever. It's kind of coming up with the idea, and messing around with it, and being not afraid to mess
I
up.
love that, man.
I like to think of myself as a character actor. And the more I work and the more work I do, I'm seeing, like, oh yeah, I am sort of a character actor in my own way, because that's kind of, to me, why I ever wanted to act. It wasn't just to be on TV or to be on a procedural kind of medical drama just to say I'm a fucking actor. Like, I want to play characters. So for each one I take, I kind of like, what's this guy's physicality? What's his voice like? What does he look like? The shape. So that
Rich,
was
by the way, the shaved heads. It's working.
You like it?
I like it.
Thank you, sir. That was kind of my decision for this. I was like, you know what? I'm going into this character. He's got a shaved head.
I think it works. Yeah. If you have to keep the beard. Keep the beard. You need to have the hair to grow,
Right.
to migrate south.
Exactly. It's got to migrate south. And if I take this out, I look like a toddler, man. Like I got sort of character. And
Are you an American dude?
Yeah. I'm an American dude.
Because you were recently enough actually playing this character or another character that's a different accent and staying in that accent.
Oh, I love staying in accents. As a matter of fact,
'Cause like I said, we had to chat about you being that character again.
yeah, I think that's the first thing I look at when I'm reading a script of a new character that I'm playing is, what does this person sound like? And until I can figure out what that person sounds like, I don't know who the character is yet. So for me, it's all about voice.
You go voice first, then the character.
Then then it's voice, physicality. Like, what does this guy look like? Does he work out a lot? Is he lean? Is he, what's his, that whole thing, like what's his diet like? Is he a smoker? Is he a non-smoker? These things all help kind of build what the character is. But for me, some people have their wardrobe, what does he wear?
Yeah.
Some actors what kind of shoes does he wear?
Right.
Which is a big thing. Like there's I forgot who it was, one of these greats that needs to know what shoes his actors
Shoes tell a lot about people.
Yeah,
That's what
they
I
do.
heard about this. Yeah.
But for me, it's the voice. Like, what does this person sound like? So even if it's, it might be subtle, accented American, a
That
little
change how your
southern,
body is then.
1000%.
I'd imagine, yeah. Okay.
Like Covenant,
cool.
The way I figured, I'm like, this guy's a special force.
Chest out, constant.
Huh?
Chest out, kind of constant.
Chest out.
Yeah.
This guy, he's a veteran, and he's probably done a lot of training in kind of like South Carolina, Georgia, these kinds of places. So even though he had an American accent, he was a Latin, like myself, Cuban American man.
Which we have to talk about.
Yeah, Cuban American man like myself. But I'm like, I personally was born in Georgia, Hinesville, Georgia, on an army base.
Okay, that's amazing. You never told me this.
Yeah, I'm an army brat.
Continue, sorry.
No, my dad was in the army. So if I would have stayed there, I went to Miami. So in Miami, there's a certain Miami accent which I never picked up. But if I would have stayed in Georgia, I might have spoken with a twang. It would have been a little different. I would have spoken like that. So I kind of figured this character would have that kind of draw.
Yeah.
So that's where I went with that. This one was kind of funny because I think I was like shooting in this one and I went into that draw like subconsciously for this character. And I think I could hear him in the mic and he told me, he's like, don't sound like such a fucking cowboy. I'm like, all right, fuck, I went back into that fucking accent, which was funny. And it was, don't know where it came. I think organically it was just the line that I was saying just sounded so fucking cool.
You read it in your head.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see that. I know
accent.
what you mean. You've seen it. You're like, I'm just gonna whip the knee and gonna go into it.
So I was born in Georgia, and then we moved to Germany for 3.5 years.
Oh wow.
Because my dad was in the army, and they were stationed in Germany. So about 4 or 5 years old, I moved back to Miami. So my whole youth was in Miami. I lived in Miami until I was about 27. And it was there where I did, theater in school, and I kind of gave it up once I got into high school. Because it was either theater or baseball. And at this time of my life,
Baseball.
Yeah, I'm I'm going to be a professional baseball player. Like, absolutely I am. Duh. Which didn't happen.
Now you sound American.
Duh, I'm going to be a baseball player. Duh.
This is it.
Didn't happen. Went to college, and I got my degrees in political science.
Nice.
And my master's in international business, and I got a job, and I was doing like the whole, I would love to say 9 to 5, but really.
No, you're right. Yeah, but that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's what they call it. I mean,
I was 9 to 5, but it really was like 4 a.m. to 7 p.m. Of course. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy work, and I was so unhappy. I moved to Tennessee for a bit, and I just kind of realized this is not what I want to do with my life. I was about like 24 years old, and I'm like, this is just not it for me. And what I always kept on reverting to whenever I would fantasize about this life that I wanted, or not even life that I wanted, but whenever I would find myself working out or running or jogging and fantasizing, it was always me acting. It was always me in a film. My favorite films, I put myself into it. And I missed the days of performing because I was always a performer. I would always like to make people laugh. Whether it was like in middle school, high school, my mom's office where she worked in her school, I'd make all the ladies laugh. It was like a show, I'd always make them crack up. Or in my fraternity, I'd do a comedy show,
Right, okay. So you seem, you're saying now it's more making people laugh.
Yeah, well, that's funny. I think that was just a performer. Because I think in real life, I love making people laugh. I'm a clown. I think when it comes to filming, though, I like the more grittier, not so much comedic kind of stuff. I mean, I can go there, but...
Yeah, moment where you just fell into it?
Oh, 1,000%. This is the moment. I know it.
Right, hit me.
Exactly. So I was living in Tennessee, and there was not much to do other than go to Walmart. I don't know if you know of Walmarts in America. It's like
I know of it, yeah.
Walmart or the movie theater that was half hour away. And I went to go watch Mission Impossible. Whatever Mission Impossible was out like in 2010 or 11.
I have no idea, man.
Whichever one that one was around that time that came out, I went to watch it.
3, I think. I'm going to throw 3 out there.
I have no idea.
Go for it.
I have no idea. But I remember watching it and I was like, shit, why did I do that? Like, that's what I always wanted to do. That's what I loved. Like, that gave me so much, it fucking motivated me that just on the drive home, I started thinking about that. So I drove home with that idea of that's what I should have done. I'm so unhappy now. It's not too late. Like I'm 24, I'm not old. Even though that time when you're 24.
No, when you're 24, you're fucking ancient.
Yeah, you think you're like,
because
my life is over.
You know people when you're 24, you know people in their 40s like, oh, you're old.
Yeah.
Which is mental.
Mental, fucking mental.
It's crazy, isn't
but
it?
At 24, I'm like, shit.
Yeah,
like I got my degrees and like this is what my life is now.
Yeah.
But I had just this moment. I had a real fucking moment. It was this real. It was like the first real selfish moment I had in the sense of like, I gotta do me. Like I have to fucking do me, whatever that means. So I called my mom up and I'm like, what's the one thing you said I should have always done with my life? She's like, you should have been an actor. Like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do it. She's like, what do you mean? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna quit everything. I'm gonna move back. I'm gonna figure out, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna move back to Miami. If it's okay with you, let me move back home for a bit so I can save some money. She's like, yeah. She's like, my mom was Cuban mom. She was super happy. She's like, come home as long as you want. So that's exactly what I did. I went back home. My buddy had just opened up a restaurant and I started working at the restaurant.
Nice, yeah, okay.
And just to kind of have my days, it was a nighttime only, so I had my days for audition. And there was like no auditioning in Miami, like really, really tiny, nothing shoots there. So it was like modeling and commercials, but they did have 2 shows at the time that were shooting there, and it was Magic City, which was like this 1950s New York, Miami hotel thing, and Burn Notice.
Okay.
That went on for 7 seasons. And just to make a very long story short, after the grinding and the training and the classes and driving 2.5 hours to get to like these acting events or whatever to meet people, about 1.5 years into it, I had already done my like extra work, right? Like as extra on these shows. I got a part on Burn Notice on like their penultimate last episode ever.
Right.
I got my first guest star role as this character named Chacho. And yeah, no,
it's kind of like a ticket box thing, though, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's good.
Well, it was huge.
Big ticket box thing.
Is it a big ticket box? No,
you know,
100%.
in that world,
it was the first time on camera.
If it's finished as well.
Yeah.
First time on camera, but it was an institution.
Yeah.
This thing wasn't.
1,000%. It was 7 episodes. Everybody knew Burn Notice. It was like the show that shot in Miami, and like I remember at my university when I was still in uni, they would shoot at my university. I remember, and I had no inclination that I would ever be an actor, and I would watch them like, oh, so cool. And then next thing you know, I got a guest star on it. And that was enough to like give me that credit. It was like my reel was now that clip from that show and then like a bunch of student films, which I was very grateful for because it gave me so much confidence. And
you must have been buzzing after this.
Oh, super buzzing. And then from there I moved to LA. And then that was a whole different grind.
Ran through the rat race of LA. Fucking in there, man. I'm all in there. So, this is a pretty good year, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, and you've just come back from another Guy film, which we haven't kind of chatted much about the whole Guy stuff. We kind of segued off and different things. But what I want to ask is, how are you? Like, how are you? I know people say straight away, because I know you do. I know you do. I fucking do it all the time.
Oh, fucking great. Yeah.
So, how are you?
So funny. The answer always depends on where I'm at.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In the year, in my life, whenever I come off of a job, I'm so fucking depressed. It's like we have such a weird job as creatives because when you're in it, you're so invested, like 110% of you. Mm-hmm. The adrenaline of waking up, the adrenaline of going to set, of watching set, of like realizing, like looking around it, and I always pinch myself. I'm like, oh shit, there's Guy Richie again. Like I grew up loving this guy.
Of course.
You know, he's one of my favorite directors of all time. Here I am in his film. It's that adrenaline of like learning your lines or getting a line thrown at you and then it's like, all right, go. It's like, it's you're in it and you're living on that high for a month, 2, 3 months. And it's always funny when you get off of that, when you come back, sometimes you're blessed and you're lucky to go.
And you bounce into another one.
You bounce right into another one.
Tell me, right?
But yeah, no, it's like whenever you have all this adrenaline when you're on the job and when you get back, you're sort of like, it's gone.
Yeah.
Right? And it's sort
it's
of
gone quick though.
Yeah.
And you won't know what you've done for months
for
or even
a year
or two, depending.
And you're like, shit, how did I do?
Yeah.
And then sometimes you're blessed in the sense that you might have something right after to jump into. And a lot of times you don't. I think as actors, I think as creatives, I think it's so important to, and I'm still learning this. I still don't know how to do it. I've gotten better. But this is part of my journey and kind of as a man and as a creative and as just a fucking person.
As a human.
As a human is learning how to make use and find full fulfillment of that time off for me. Because so you know, you get in this grind, especially when you're in Los Angeles, where it's like, for my case, because I didn't come from money, I had to work my ass off to pay rent at a restaurant. So you're doing that 6-7 days a week while you're auditioning for shit. So it's just like, it's this constant grind. So like now I'm so grateful I don't work, you know, I kind of rely on my creativity right now to kind of get me by in my career and my life. But there's moments where there's nothing happening, and you have to find. I think it's so important to find what things that excite you, things that make you tick, creative or not, when you're not working. And I think that's. You ask me how I am right now. That's where I'm at right now.
So you're in a way that you just said there that you need to find creative people.
Yeah.
If you don't be creative, you go down a fucking hole, man.
Drives me fucking nuts. It's hard.
Right, and it's hard. Now, have you got another creative outlet? I know I do.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's sporadic.
Yeah.
I still go through a time where I can't do this other outlet because I draw and paint and I do whatever, you know, creative. I can like literally visual vomit nearly, just get it out there, you know. If I'm not shooting,
right,
or I need to make up a shoot,
right,
to create, and that's what I need to do. So, is there a way? Do you have this other creative entity that you know? It's not acting.
I think that's the challenge constantly, is trying to find creativity in my downtime when I'm not actually like on set and working, how to feel fulfilled, right? How to feel, you know, because for me, even when I get auditions that I don't want to do, because I'm like, this is not a character I want to play.
Yeah, okay.
Because a lot of the times, like, I don't know if you and I have talked about it, but you know, for me, it's like I don't like doing a lot of these stereotypical Latino roles that Hollywood.
I have this conversation with
audition, and I don't even send it in. I'll tell my agents, I'm not doing that. And they know. Because I know they kind of approach me in a sense like, hey, there's this thing, just read it, and if you want to, yes. If you don't, all good. Because I'm like, I'm not going to perpetuate the stereotype that Hollywood and the industry has put on certain people. They do it all across the board to all sorts of ethnicities, right? So, but I'll still do it because I like that acting and creating.
You like to work as well.
Right. So I'll do it for myself.
Of course.
That's good practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to go into that, to me, I kind of had to put a hard kind of sort of, it's hard to do as an actor too, especially when you're starting out, or not so starting out. Maybe you've already accomplished a little bit and you've gotten some roles and you've gotten some pilots.
You want to hold your look, is that right? You want to hold your thing, you want to hone your craft in the way you want it.
Right, well, it's hard to make that decision because I feel like when you're kind of starting out, or you're in that position where any role that comes is important to get the credits and you want to take it and you don't want to say no. And you don't want to seem like an actor that doesn't want to work. No, of course I want to work. But you have to have that kind of...
it's an unfortunate industry thing that's put on a lot of creatives. Yeah. Is that if you don't say yes, some other fucker's going to take it.
Right.
And you're like, oh, well, I'm better than that other fucker.
But then you have to be in a place where you're so comfortable in what you would want to accomplish and what you want to do to be like, let that motherfucker take it. I don't want it.
That's a good place to be. That's a good space in your head
to that place, though. Of like, oh, but so this guy's gonna get it. Fucking good. If that's what he wants to play, good. I've been seen here more for my talent and what I can bring to the table.
That's what we are.
Rather than like that ticks a box, which is a shitty fucking feeling.
Well, I want to come back to when you were saying about the auditions there, because you alluded to me earlier on about you having an audition for Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just asking this because I'm a fucking freak, and I know you're a freak for this shit.
Yeah.
How was that? How did you feel about that?
Well, it's kind of funny. It's like,
if you don't mind talking about it.
Not at all. And I guess I'll bring it back, and we were talking about. I think why I think it's important to talk about these things is because you have to like, and going back to like I was saying, like my stoicism and my readings and stoicism is like you can only worry about what you can control, and you can't give a fuck about what you can't. It's sort of like that. Like you have to trust when things don't work out. I think that's like when you get to that place as an actor, and it took me forever to get there, to like me not getting something, and instead of being so hell-bent and so depressed about why I didn't get a certain role and that could have changed my career trajectory and all these things, it's so important to realize, had those things happened, then other beautiful things would not have happened.
And I hear that all the time, man.
It's so important to like
great
keep that
thing.
in mind, because for me, it was such a wild process. It was like auditioning almost like 6 months on self-tape. And 6 months in a sense, it wasn't like every week or every month, but like an audition. It was for this Lord of the Rings show. Audition and then like
for this Lord of the
Rings show, Rings of Power. But it was crazy because I was such a nerd. I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, man, me too, man.
And for me, going back to the Latin thing is like, holy shit. Like, I would be like a Latin actor.
You're championing
that kind of show.
Exactly,
'Cause
I understand that.
We
I
don't
understand
get
that totally.
period pieces, bro. Like,
I understand that,
unless
man.
it's like Spanish or old Cuba shit, or like back, like we don't get period.
Yeah.
Speaking RP English accent, which we can do, and we love it. Like, you know. So I'm like, man, this is a fucking opportunity. So whatever, 6 months of it, and then I get the test for it in Auckland. I fly from LA to New Zealand.
Here's an everything.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever talked about it out loud to anybody, but like, what's nuts about it is like, before, as I'm getting on the plane, I had already been working on my side. It was like 3 different sides. Which sides are, for people that don't know, is like your audition material. So you don't get like a whole scene. You might get like 2 pages of a scene. You know, those are, you know.
You need to figure out what the vibe was in that little scene.
Yeah, well, you get it.
Right.
You had like 3 of them, and there was like 4 or 5 pages, but like RP English, which is not my accent. So you got to work on these things and practice them and work on them so that you can get it right in the right.
Can you just tell me about
Work on that. So when I'm getting on the plane, they send me a whole new set of sides, 3 different scenes as I'm getting on the plane.
Right.
So forget about it. This like 12-hour flight to New Zealand was not going to be chill. It was going to be me trying to learn these fucking lines.
freaking out, man?
Then I get there, they give me a call on the phone, and they go, hey, by the way, you know, you've been auditioning for like 6 months for this like human character. He's not a human, he's an elf. I go, what does that mean? They're like, well, you know, they just think differently and they speak differently. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? It's all this shit, and then like the next day you go in and you audition for it, and you test, and there was like 50, 60 people. It was incredible. On the set, and you even try on like the, you know.
You're in it and everything.
You're in it,
Wow,
and
wow.
that's it. You just kind of have to leave it behind, you know, and I feel like I did all right.
You probably did do.
Yeah, probably. I feel like I did.
And if you pull that out now and look at it, it might look fucking shit hot.
Yeah.
But it's always about what they see visually, what they want 10 years time.
100%. But the guy that got it, I'll tell you that, they couldn't have picked a better guy. He was the guy.
Yeah.
Ismael Cruz Cordova.
He's cool,
or Cordova
motherfucker,
Cruz.
isn't
He's fucking great. He looks perfect.
Yeah.
He's like beautiful brown skin, blue eyes, incredible actor. And he really, what I truly was like so excited about was to be this like Latin actor who like was playing that role.
Yeah.
But he was that too. He's Puerto Rican.
Okay, yeah, right.
And he's like from
So you were
the
championing
mountains
through
of
him
Puerto
then.
Rico.
You're living vicariously now through
Yeah,
this guy.
and I was like championing that. I'm like, oh, he got that. He was like, he was the guy for that role. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't me.
I get it.
It was him. And like once I got over that,
Still a bit fucking.
yeah, at the time, not
Yeah,
anymore, man, not anymore.
No,
because
obviously
like,
now. It must have been, I don't know when they started these auditions, but it must have been
that shit
3
was
years.
2019.
That's a
Yeah,
that's a
2019.
jump, man. That's a jump.
Yeah, no, it took me a bit to get over that because I'm like, you know, you just kind of feel like I've had so many of those close calls. I've tested for so many things. You know, you go to test and you're like, you're one of 2 guys, and I didn't get it. Or like, there's one that I tested and I did get it, and they called back and they wanted to see more guys, so I didn't get it. You know, there's so many of
But you know
those.
what? The best thing is about it is that you are the guy being asked to do it. Do you get me?
Yeah, you get
You
to-
are
yeah.
now at this. There's an area. I always say there's 3 areas,
Yeah.
and there's you starting out, and there's this middle ground where you think, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
I'm getting some cool shit.
Yeah.
And then there's the next level where you're actually around the right people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel it's good to talk about. I can feel talking about. I feel I'm in there now.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way you're talking about your work, you're in that now.
Yeah.
You're you know, hanging out with Guy Ritchie doing films.
Yeah.
That's that level.
Yeah.
And that is, and you're saying even from 2019, that's that level as well.
Yeah.
Because there are the roles now you're being asked to come in and look at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where you're dancing with the better people.
Yeah.
Or not the better people. That's the wrong word to say. But you're dancing with where you
With the right players, like the player.
you want to be where you want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like what you do,
Love it.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Love it.
I'll wake up tomorrow morning at 3:30. If I need to drive 17 hours somewhere, I'll fucking do it.
Yeah, me too.
right? And I love that. I'm very passionate about what I do. I love it. And that's what led me into photography, because I ended up getting up for work.
Yeah.
And when I started getting up for work,
Yeah.
I was like, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
I'll get up and do my job. I love that.
Yeah.
But getting up to work,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to work.
No.
I want to enjoy stuff. I want to make stuff.
Yeah.
I want to create stuff in the job that I do.
Right.
And I feel like that's where people miss out on the kind of idea of creativity.
Yeah.
That people think, oh, you're just doing it as that's not work.
Yeah.
But I think if you understand you in the creative bubble of yourself, once you know that, I feel the same. I feel like I've only now 5 years now, maybe 4 years, even less. I now have my voice.
Yeah.
Only now.
Yeah.
I'm doing this 15 years.
Yeah.
And only now that I can understand that I can look at my image and be like, that's my image.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And it's not like I've maybe grabbed in a postmodernist artistic vibe. I've grabbed from the 50s. I've grabbed from other amazing photographers. Maybe I've done that. Of course I have. But I've made it now mine. There might be elements of those people in there.
Yeah.
I just think that's the same way with acting. I'm sure you, like you say, you watched movies. You went back and you went to the cinema.
Yeah.
And that's you triggered yourself into being an actor.
Yeah.
I think creatives are all the same. I don't think we're in a universe of our own. I don't think you're just an actor. I don't think you're just a cameraman or DOPs or photographers.
Yeah.
We're all in a creative hub
Yeah.
that we all have the same trigger in our brain, I feel,
Yeah.
that needs to fucking have that urge to build and create.
But I love it.
Is that deep? That's deep, isn't it?
That's fucking super deep. But I love that. That's beautiful because it is an urge. It's like no one. Those days that you're on set 16, 17 hours and you wake up and you do it again, you do it for 6 days in a row, there's a reason why you keep on doing it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like the beauty of creating something.
Yeah,
It's so raw and it's so human. Because like, nowadays there's CGI and all this shit, but like putting a film together is such a human experience. From
It's
like
also
top
making
to
someone
bottom.
else happy. I always find that it's always about, when I take photographs, I always want to make sure everyone else is happy.
Yeah.
On top of, because I'll always be, because I have that control over it.
Yeah.
It's the control thing again, isn't it? That I know that shot's going to look cool because I've worked so hard to make sure I know it is. But are you happy?
Yeah. But what part makes you happy? Like when you're taking a photograph, what part makes
Conversation.
That's what it is. Like that. What's your selfish part of it?
I could have took about 1 million photographs there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know the camera's there. We've had this conversation.
No, you were great at that too. We had a fucking great time.
And it's an extension of who I am to you and who you are to me when it comes down to it. If you're doing a big job or we're just sitting here taking photographs, it's all about the human interference or interactions, should I say, not interference, interaction between who you are as a human and who I am chatting back to you.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we've talked about work, and we've actually talked a lot about work.
Yeah.
To have a chat about who you are and have a chat about you and what you're doing and how you're getting on and all this stuff, because that's real. So for me, I buzz about having a conversation with people about the extension of, let's say, I think Annie Leibovitz said one time, the lens is an extension of her eye, which I thought was a nice thing. But how I feel is it's a handshake.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
That's cool.
I've got a camera here and I'll have it on me when I meet you. And you forget that it's there when I leave.
Yeah.
And it's still there.
Yeah.
Right.
And
On that note, man, we will say fucking Shine. That's it.
Shine. Salut.
Oh, sláinte. If you say salut, we say sláinte.
Salut.
To good health.
Love that.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, man.
Jeez, man, that was good.
was
It got nice
That
and
was
deep,
fucking-
man.
that was, you brought it there in a beautiful way. You capped that off beautifully.
Thanks, man. I hope I
you got
did.
everything you needed.
Did that feel
man.
alright?
I felt awesome. I felt like I didn't fucking. I could see he was there, but I didn't feel that way at all.
feel
I
good?
felt like, no, it felt awesome.
It's a new thing for me,
But
so
that's
I
it.
don't know.
No. I think that's it. I think the more.
More of them.
No, more of that is good. But the more just that you have a very just an easy way to make people feel warm and easy. I think you and I have that naturally, but I think that's it. Keep it at home. Meaning like
Yeah, it will be very grounded.
that's it.
Yeah.